What's up, Kansas City? I'm your host, Glenn Brian Frizzell. Today we are filming in the South Kansas City neighborhood, affectionately called Stratford Estates. Our special guest today is Miss Gay-linn Gatewood-Jasho. We'd like to welcome her to the show. As a preface, this book is about the Hickman Mills School District journey. It was written in 2002, The Journey to Our Future, written by Miss Jamie Parkinson. In the book, and I'm reading, 1968, Robert and Ida Gatewood and their two children became the first black family to own a home in the Hickman Mills C1 school district area. Now, Miss Gatewood, Miss Jasho, I should say, has since moved away, graduated from Clark Atlanta, where she works now today. But can you tell us a little bit about your journey of being the first African American in the South Side here in Kansas City?
Sure. I remember when we moved in because we moved in the middle of the school system. We came in January that year, and also that year was a pivotal year because Martin Luther King was also killed. I can remember my mother especially. She always kept me and my brother very much in tune with our heritage. Even though we lived in the suburbs, we still worshiped back in the city of Kansas City. All of our social functions were always back in the city. So even though we lived out this way, we still knew who we were growing up. And plus she taught black history, so we always had the opportunity to feel very we were very proud of who we were. Even though we lived in the suburbs, we never forgot our heritage.
And your brother Robert the Fifth?
Robert Davis the Fifth.
I understand he's since deceased, so
Yes.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
How much older?
He's 4 years older.
He was four years older? Okay, and so you attended school here in the 1960s?
Right, I started at Westridge Elementary School, and my brother started at Baptiste Junior High.
Westridge, I don't believe that's around there.
No, neither is Baptiste.
What are your earliest memories about going to school here? What school did you transfer from?
I transferred from Quinton Elementary School in Topeka, Kansas. And I think the thing that I can remember most about Westridge, it was not only was it a cultural shock, but it was also a social shock because you couldn't wear pants during that time in this school district. And so I came from a school district where, I could wear pants and all of that, so I had to adjust to that. That was number one. Number two, being the only, I guess in those terms, being the only black in the class, I remember the thing that always comes to mind is when we had to do a Thanksgiving program, and the teacher wanted us to dress as either a pilgrim or an Indian. And my mother actually made me two different outfits. So during my presentation, first I dressed as a pilgrim, and I dressed as an Indian, but my closing paragraph was that I would not be either one of those because my people during that time would have been enslaved. So, of course, the teacher's face got real excited and strange and all of that. But again, because that's what I was taught at home, never pull away from who I am, even though we're in this environment.
And I have some questions here from our Facebook page. Mr. Aaron Williams wants to know, were any of your teachers, did you have any black teachers?
I had no black teachers.
All the way from Westridge, you graduated from Hickman Mills High
Correct.
School in the mid-70s?
None.
No black teachers?
None.
Asa asks, were people nice to you or was racism strong at that time?
I think people were nice. I could feel some racism. But again, because I was always the one between me and my brother, I would come home and ask questions. My mother knew how to frame stuff to still keep me grounded and how to go back in. I can remember when I was a little girl and went to a Halloween party. And now that I look at it, it was innocence, even though at that time I felt offended when I ducked for an apple and came up, and of course, my makeup didn't come off. And so, the kids would come up like, "You're like this all along?" And so, at first I was angry, but then when you think of children, that was innocence because the parents didn't approach me. Maybe if the parents had said something, I would have felt different.
And I believe this question is also from Aaron. Did you have friends in this particular environment?
Yes, I do. And matter of fact, there is one, I will say a sad case, and it's actually referenced in the book, when my father talked about buying our house and how a man came up to him and said that we should not own that house. Because back during that time when you purchased a house, black people always had to have their house on the corner. And the particular house on the corner was black and white, just like ours, even though our house was in the middle of the block. That house used to be TP, toilet papered, as they used to say back then, and eggs all the time. But yet, my brother and I were real friendly with the kids, and so were my parents with their parents, only to find out all of the negativity that they were catching was really directed at us. But because they were okay with us, you know, we still played with their children and everything else.
Did you ever get called any racial names or feel that you were treated less than or unequal by your teachers?
I did not, but my brother did. And probably I did not because I came forth so differently. I can remember my brother used to come home off the bus with, they would put like a fountain pen that's in your hand in the back of his pocket, and he would sit down and, you know, and just come home just very torn up. So when you're 4 years younger and you see all that, and because of the way my parents raised me, by the time I went to Baptiste, I wore a big fro. I had a patch on my clothes in red, black, and green, which was very important to African Americans during that time. I had a patch that said Black Jesus, and I played the drums. So I came in from an entire different view than my brother did, because I saw him, catch so much hell. I wasn't going to go through all that.
So while Mr. Jasho, you were in the marching band and you played drums?
Uh-huh.
Wow, okay. If you don't mind me asking, where, what street did you live on?
On College Avenue,
College Avenue?
Mhm.
Okay, what block?
10709.
10709.
Mhm.
And what did your parents do?
My father worked for the federal government, and my mother was a lecturer of Black history and also an evangelist.
Wow, that's awesome. And I guess it's kind of getting to Adachi's question. Did you feel racial tensions during your high school career? Did you ever feel that you...
I can say yes by something that was shared with me.
Yes.
Counselors a lot of times can do damage in terms of not pushing you forward. But I never knew until I graduated from college that my mother told me that even though I was making A's and B's all the way in Hickman Mills High School, that the school counselor said that I would never be college ready. But she never shared that with me as an individual until I graduated from Clark College in 1981, because she said she didn't want me to be influenced by that negativity.
And let me also ask you, how many blacks were in your graduating class? This question comes from Cherie.
There were almost 500 people who graduated, and if I remember correctly, there were about 8 of us.
8 of you guys?
8 of us.
And we talk about college career and college readiness. You chose to go to a historically black college and university?
Correct.
Okay.
And that was in Atlanta, Georgia. At that time, it was Clark College, and now it's Clark Atlanta University. And I'm happy to say that I serve as the Director of Alumni Relations at Clark Atlanta.
Did your brother also go to Atlanta?
No, he actually went to Longview College here. He did not finish, but he was a musician because he played around the city quite often and played for churches and played for supper clubs.
Can I also ask, did he go to Ruskin or Hickman Mills?
No, he did not. He only went to Baptiste. I fortunately went to all 3 schools in the district.
And you graduated and you went on to HBCU, Clark
Correct.
Atlanta, which has a long, illustrious alumni list. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey post Hickman Mills High School?
Sure. When I left Hickman Mills, I went straight to Atlanta, and I went to Clark and majored in mass communications. Then after I finished Clark College, I had the fortunate opportunity to go live in Nairobi, Kenya, where I served as a visiting lecturer in communications. Then I came back and started my career at Clark College in 1986, and I'm serving, this is my 30th year now.
Now, we share a couple of things in common. I did not get a chance to go to Hickman Mills High School, although I have a brother who teaches there now.
Okay.
In 1991, I was a student at Smith Hill High School, and at that time, the district was 37% black. I'm told in a 2014 statistic, the district is now 80% black. I don't know if you were here when Bannister Mall was here.
I was.
Brought a lot of business to the city, and in 2008, took a lot of business from the city. This area, some have said, have been plagued by crime, violence, unemployment, and Cerner Corporation has come in. I don't want to call them a savior, but they've invested several $billions, and some of that they are going to reinvest into the community and also schools. What do you see just coming from Atlanta, coming in your drive, and what do you see the community in terms of businesses? What would you like to see?
Well, what you just shared, I think this side of town needs an opportunity to grow again, because I can remember when Bannister Mall was here. I can remember how it flourished. And even though the school was not predominantly black, still it was a good neighborhood. So since I've been traveling back and forth, and I would say 2012 was actually the last time that I spent a lot of time here, and that's when my father passed, it would be good to see it grow again, because when I drive over or by the area with Bannister, I just shake my head, because anytime in any big city, and especially I would say in a predominantly African American area, we need growth. We need to be vital, because that's one thing I like about living where I do in Atlanta, that almost in any pocket you can see us, and I think Kansas City, Missouri needs the same opportunity.
Now, Ms. Jasho, have you ever felt at any time pressure from being the first African American to integrate
Now you're gonna
South
laugh.
Kansas City?
I didn't even know until you called me on Memorial
No, get out
Day.
of here.
Because I'm the type of person, and working in academia, because I was talking to a friend as I was driving, I don't think about stuff like that. I don't think about living a legacy. And actually when you called me on Memorial Day, and then I realized we lived in 2016 and I could find the book myself. And when I read about like being the first African American to be editor of the yearbook, I don't even think about stuff like that. So am I happy? Yes. But as I was walking through my life path, no, never crossed my mind.
I believe a picture of your brothers on
Yes.
page 93.
Yes.
Growth continued. I would like to ask you, what would the Miss Gay-linn of today say to the Gay-linn of 1976 or 1968, if you can remember back?
Be the same person that you were then. Be open, be thankful for having parents like I did. Also be thankful for the brother that I did, who was very compassionate and passionate, and not like his little sister who's going to speak her mind. That I wouldn't change anything, because one thing I believe, we're on the path that we're supposed to be on. And if I could be like maybe a guardian angel where I could have whispered in her ear, I just would have said, you know, take notes and remember this as you walk forward in your life.
And you evangelize, you are hands-on with children today at Clark Atlanta, young adults rather, emerging future leaders. What words of inspiration do you have for people today, whether they're going through racial challenges or just want to find a leader in themselves?
First of all, listen to that inner voice, because I truly believe that God guides us. And also find other mentors to help you, because like even the lady's house who I'm staying in, during the time when I had to really understand what my father was going through, having dementia and all that, she became an angel to me to help me through that process. Be open to anybody who enters your life and you feel good about that person being there at that moment, because they've been sent to you for a reason to help you move forward in life.
And you definitely have been sent to us for a reason here at What's Up Kansas City. We'd like to thank you. Do you have any final words or any closing thoughts to share with our viewers?
I thank you for this opportunity, because again, if it wasn't for you, Mr. Frizzell, I would not have even known what impact my brother and I and my parents had in this Kansas City area. So thank you so much.
And we thank you. We're honored and privileged that you've spoken with us here today. My name is Glenn Frizzell. Check out more video online at www.whatsupkansascity.net. And remember, the sky's the limit. Aim for the moon. If you miss it, the very least you would have landed among the stars. Take care until next time.
I'm IFBB Bikini Pro Cat Williams, and when I'm not working out in the gym, I'm searching the web on Cascade Media.